So first thing, congratulations, right? The second thing, I've called a lot of Patricky Pitbull's fights, and he has good short-range power, good right hand, good left hook. Usman completely negated that from the beginning. Was that part of the game plan or more his style of fighting, that kick-heavy kind of style? What was it?
That was the game plan. The game plan was distance. Patricky had, like what you said, real short power, shorter guy, smaller guy. I said, we're never going to be in danger as long as you keep him at kicking range. And that's exactly what he did. And then when he got in too close, we were going to take him down. And that's exactly what happened. You know, he went for the takedown when he was in close to mix it up, you know, to make him think, well, if I come in swinging, I'm going to get taken down. If I stay on the outside, I'm going to be picked apart, you know, and that's basically what Usman did. It was perfect game plan, to be honest with you.
Was there anything at the end? I mean, as you said, it was perfect game plan, executed fantastically. Was there anything at the end where you went, okay, this is what we need to work on next. This is what we're going to improve. You talked about with Usman Makhachev, you know, part of the problem is almost finding things to coach. Was there anything in that fight where at the end it was, okay, we need to work on this?
Well, I'll tell you what we don't need to work on. Come the fourth round after it was over, you know, in my mind, I said, okay, now he's going to come out stronger than ever because they know they lost 4-0. They had to have known, and they're going to have the urgency to come in for the stoppage, right? So I was going to tell him, you know, look more for the takedown. Before I could even say that to Usman, he goes, okay, coach, I know, take him down. I said, okay. So he already knew what he was going to do before I even said anything. I said, okay, just be careful how you do it, is what I told him. And he did. I mean, you know, to make a champion look like he did and made it a one-side affair, that was pretty impressive. And also, I felt from listening to Patricky's interview, I thought he set himself up for failure, and I'll tell you how. His mind was thinking that Usman was going to just take him down, not going to want to stand with him. So when that didn't happen, I know it messed up with his head. I know it did. Because he was expecting takedowns, and he was prepared for the takedowns. He really was. But he wasn't prepared for what happened. He was not, and I knew that. I said, man, he's not prepared for the all-around game. So here's a chess player playing only one set of chess rules, where we had multiple chess rules. We were playing different angles, and he wasn't. That was the problem.
Is that a difficulty a lot of opponents have when they're taking on Usman? Does everybody throw everyone in the Khabib bucket? They all fight like Khabib. Everybody from Dagestan, everybody with a beard, they fight like Khabib. Is that something that, you know, is a strength for you? People kind of assume that that whole team, that whole family, they all fight the same, but they don't. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, they all think that, you know, but the thing is, they do fight like Khabib, but Khabib 2.0. Okay, the difference is these guys, they're doing what Khabib does, but they're also getting better at the striking. All of them, they're all beasts, and that's what people don't understand. That you know, these Dagestani guys, all from Abdomanop's gym and other parts of the region, they're good strikers. You know, and they developed their striking game, and you know, it's just a matter of time before more Dagestanis come on board, and everybody realizes that the hub of the major stars, they're going to come out of Dagestan.
What do you think the ceiling is? You know, you've talked about how, as far as the family goes, as far as talent goes, he's right there amongst the elite, amongst the top guys. What do you see the ceiling being for Usman Nurmagomedov as a fighter?
I think he's a superstar on the rise. I believe that he's still young. He's 24. He hasn't grown into his body, just like his brother Umar. When Umar was his age, he was good, but not where he was at now. Umar right now, to me, can beat anybody in the bantamweight division of the UFC. And the only way to prove it is for him to get that opportunity, and he's going to prove me right. And Usman, he's won the title at a younger age where his body still hasn't matured, but he's growing all the time. So 2 years from now is going to be a whole different level of Usman, not like you're seeing now. He's got much more to grow, and he knows it. And Khabib and I have him on track to do that, you know. So he will be getting better. Don't expect what you saw from this fight to be the best you've seen. You haven't seen nothing yet compared to what this kid can do.
Of course, you know, Usman saying he wants to relax a little bit and take a little time, you know, eat a little bit, get a burger and a Coke. But Patricio Pitbull, Michael Chandler, of course, knocks out Patricky Pitbull. Patricio jumps on the cage, says, I want you next. Chandler does this, like, oh, I got you. And Patricio knocked him out. He's always ready to avenge his brother. Do you know what's coming next in terms of opponent at 55? Could it perhaps be Patricio?
I don't know, you know, but whatever Bellator pushed together, we're not opposed to it. So if you know, his brother wants to come and come at Usman, yeah, no problem. We're good with that. 100% good with that. I'm good with anybody coming at him, except Islam Makhachev, which is his training partner. So anybody outside Islam, Usman can fight, no problem. But they're brothers; they'll never fight each other. So there's never going to be a comparison who would win between the two of them because they're never going to fight ever. That's just might as well called it's thick as blood. You know, those guys are brothers through and through, and that's never going to be a conversation of who's better, this and that. They're both going to be champions. They're both going to reign their divisions and each organization.
What I'm curious about is that kind of crowding. When you look at the lightweight rankings, there's Islam Mamedov, Gazi Rabadanov, all these fighters from the same team or work out together, similar weight classes. Is that a little bit of a problem, kind of crowded divisions under the same team?
No, not a problem. Not a problem at all. They know their situation. They will never fight their brother. That's never going to happen. Islam will never fight Usman. Gaji will never fight him either. And they're going to be in there. They're going to do their thing. But let's put it this way. If something happens where Usman loses, then of course they're going to want to fight for the title. But as long as Usman stays where he's at, they're not going to ever going to go that route. It won't happen. I can tell you that without a doubt. That isn't going to happen. Not between these guys. They're too close. If they weren't as close as they were, then maybe you could see a fight between them. But these guys grew up together. You know, they're like legitimately, like they're really brothers. I'm not joking. They're as close as you can get as brothers without being, you know, blood related.
When it comes to creating champions at 155, I mean, you have Khabib, you have Islam, and now you have Usman. How similar is it? How difficult is it? What's the secret sauce to this lightweight division, a very tough division, being owned by AKA, man, and these Dagestani fighters?
Luck. It's all luck. You know?
Javier, dude, I've known you too long, man. It's not luck, dude. It's not luck. There's something there.
I just happen to have the you know, the fortune to have Khabib around, and you know, the great training he received from his father, you know, which I call father's plan, you know, enabled me to just add my touches to it. You know, granted, Jimmy, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm not adding. I'm definitely adding, you know, the wisdom and the experience that they don't have. You know, I'm adding that to them. I'm helping them, especially in the corners. They go crazy in the corners, and they're nervous, so nervous. This last fight was cracking me up. Mana, he got so anxious after the fight was over. He jumped up on top of the cage, you know, not the cage, but to get on top of the cage. And one of the Bellator guys got so pissed off at him, like really yelling at him, "Get the F down, get down!" And like, and Manav's like, oh, I'm so sorry, sorry. That guy was so pissed, you know. And it's the things like that, you know. With time, they will all learn. Khabib was very nervous too at the beginning until I learned to calm him down. So those are the type of things that I add to them that they won't get from anybody else. Is I've been in these fires so many times, you know, and I know how to react, and I know how to stay calm under all this situation. And I'm teaching them that, and it's invaluable. It really is invaluable, you know. And the more fights that happen, the more the people understand the relaxation and how to stay calm and controlled in other situations when the war is happening, right? The person that's the calmest is going to be the guy that comes out the winner almost every single time, because he'll make the right decisions.
How much is your job at this point? Because AKA is so established, you've had so many champions, guys who don't come in raw, all right? You're getting guys who know what they're doing, who are outstanding at particular disciplines. How much of what you're doing as a coach at this point, when guys are at the elite championship level, is little tiny management? It's like, you know, Bill Belichick didn't teach Tom Brady how to throw the football. It was clock management, making sure the game plan is ready to go, the little tiny details that make a good fighter great. How much of that is your job with these kind of fighters?
Well, it's become more my job lately, and they're realizing as the older I'm getting, the harder it is for me to hold pads with these guys. that that's a big part of what I do. That's, believe it or not, Jimmy, it's not the pad holding that's made me successful. It's the mental aspect and what I do and what I tell them how to do things and how I teach them how to relax and how to respond to situations and game planning. I mean, it all comes down to game planning. Let me tell you something. Had we had the game plan to come in with Patricky and go, now let's go knock him out. Let's get inside and get a firefight. Hey, bro, we might have come out the wrong end of that one, because that guy can hit. He hit with major power. And I told Usman, I said, man, that was fantastic that you were able to utilize the game plan perfectly, because inside with that guy would have been very dangerous. He goes, coach, I know. He goes, feel my forehead. I go like this. He's got little bumps in there. He goes, and he barely hit me. He goes, and he barely hit me. So,
know, it's funny when I say heavy-handed, I talk about the Pitbull brothers because I go, they don't hit you with a beautiful punch. They don't need to turn it over great. They don't need great timing and distance. Patricio especially can hit you with a dog ugly punch and knock you right out. To me, that's heavy-handedness, where it's not pretty. It's not perfect. It grazes you. I saw him knock down Diego Nunes with a jab, just crushed him. What's it like getting somebody ready for something like that? Like you said, like every punch is dangerous. Like Francis Ngannou, every punch is dangerous. What's it like getting somebody ready for that?
Well, we don't focus on the power. We focus on staying away from it. Because if I fear the power, then we can't deal with the power. So we focus on the distance. If you watch the fight, you kept hearing distance, distancia, distancia. That's all you kept hearing, distancia, distancia. When he kept getting closer, we'd say distancia, distancia. We wouldn't really want him to engage. And he was always throwing the push side kick, always pushing the side kick and then going low, going high, changing levels on him all the time. And then he did the first takedown. See how beautiful transition he did from the punch to the takedown. That was, I mean, I can't recall too many times I've seen it better than that transition from stand up to the ground. That was a beautiful transition. And I don't really know of many people that could stop that kind of a takedown transition, from the punch to the takedown, because he hit you hard enough where you have to worry about the punch. And then within split second, that takedown's there. And that's what he did. And that's what's hard to deal with someone like Usman. He's so good everywhere.
You go back long enough to remember when the Gracies ruled certainly jiu-jitsu and their transition to MMA. They were so dominant. You had Hanzo, you had Hoist, you had a lot of the early, Hoyler was outstanding in the beginning. A lot of people talking about the Nurmagomedov family kind of being like the Gracies, but of modern MMA. How do you feel about that comparison?
It's a huge honor. I mean, think about it. If the people are really comparing us to the legacy of the greatness of what the Gracies did, I mean, we're all here because of the Gracies. Let's not forget that. We're all here because of everything they visualized, everything that they saw. And let's face it, if it was just comes back down to only one single art, they're still going to reign. They're still going to, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is still Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. It's going to be number one, man. In my book, how can I say otherwise? It's been proven. You have to mix the arts to be able to beat what they had. And if you just take one single art, I'm sorry, but to me, it's the best art. I mean, you can have the greatest wrestler, and yeah, he'll take you down, but what is he going to do with it? He's not going to understand the submissions. So he'll get submitted like what happened with the great ones before. They tried it just on pure wrestling. You can't. You have to know jiu-jitsu, in order to deal with jiu-jitsu.
One question that a lot of people are asking, a couple people put in the chat here: when exactly should Islam get ready? Now it's been announced that he's going to take on Alexander Volkanovski in the Perth card, UFC 284. When would that camp get going? When would you start doing stuff specifically for Alexander Volkanovski? When do you want him to take time off? A lot of people don't understand that arc of when you really get fight ready is a huge part of game planning. When would that get started for Islam?
Well, for Islam, it's always been, he's such a professional. He knows when to have fun. And right now, I'm imagining he's enjoying the fruits of what he's done, with being hosted. And I saw him at the Formula One. I've seen him with the Prince of Dubai. I've seen him do a lot of things that he's well deserved of getting, and I'm very happy for him. He's worked very hard to be in this position, and now he's there. When he starts training, trust me, he's always training. These guys are always training. Islam's always doing something or another that's physically, because, he likes to be very physical. As you notice with his motorcycle riding, with his horse riding, he does a lot of, and fishing. He does a lot of adventure type stuff. That's who he is, and he'll continue to do that. So I would say, honestly, 2 months out is when he'll start really, really getting back into camp, 2 months out. And that's what you can expect, 2 months out.
I'm curious about that for you as a coach. So many people kind of have this myth of a lot of people think Dan Gable, for example, is like he'd win a tournament and the next day he's like right back in the gym 100%. And a lot of people forget Dan Gable had won Olympics. His hips were shot. His knees were shot. He was done in his mid-20s because of that grind, never taking any time off. How important is it for you as a coach to make sure your guys, hey, take a week, take 2 weeks, get your health back, stop thinking about MMA for a minute? Are those like breaks in between fights, are they important for you?
Extremely important. And I teach the fighters. Usman, I'll use him as an example. I talk to these guys and I say, look, you guys need proper sleep. You need to take everything right. It needs to be perfect nutrition. Everything needs to be perfect, And if you have an injury, you need to avoid that injury. You need to take care of your body, and you need to tell the coaches, because if you don't, then you're going to do things that because your ego gets in the way, or you think you need more training when you really don't. You need to listen to your body, not your coaches. Your body is better than your coach. And Usman comes in and tells me, he goes, Coach, can I take tomorrow off? I go, why? Well, you know how you tell us, listen to our body, and my body's super, super tired, Coach. And can I have tomorrow off, please? And I said, yes. He goes, you can take tomorrow off. I'm thank you for telling me. So he goes, okay, can you please tell Khabib, because he'll smash me. And I said, don't worry. Because, Khabib doesn't know if they're playing or not. But see, I know when you're a warrior, warriors don't make excuses, Jimmy. They train. So this kid's a warrior. So I know when he's telling me this, he's not doing it to be a slacker. He's telling me legit stuff, and I said, yeah. So I tell Khabib, and Khabib, when I tell Khabib something, he'll listen, because he'll know, because the wisdom, right? He knows I have the experience, and I've dealt with this for so many years, and too many coaches in the past, and I've seen it present too, actually. They'll tell a fighter, when they're doing something, they feel sluggish. They go, you need to train harder. Are you running enough? It's like, wait a minute, dude. How can somebody look so good yesterday, but today they don't look good? And you're telling them they need to train more. No, your body's telling you rest. You need to rest, and that's the one issue. I disagree with what Gable was doing, right back to the grind. I disagree with that. I'm 100% with you, Jimmy. Your body needs rest. If you want to have the best body every time, then you need to give it the best rest every time. If we don't have proper sleep, how can we expect it to a proper day of work? We can't. We can't. It's impossible.
I remember one time when I was getting ready for a fight, we were in right in that peak mode. The fight was like 2 weeks away, and I was wrapping my hands, and my coach came up to me. He's a real experienced kickboxer, and he goes, "Go home, go to sleep." From the way I was wrapping, just like the way I was wrapping my hands, and I kind of had my head down. He goes, "Go home, go to sleep." I went home and I slept almost 24 hours. And, I went to training. I was like, man, he goes, you were overtrained. I could just see it. We went back, kind of built back up, and I won my fight in a round. He goes, Jimmy, just the way you were walking. I was like, you got to sleep. You're going too hard. That whole myth of there's no such thing as overtraining. I've never heard a good coach say that. It's always somebody else. There's no such thing. Like, yeah, you've never overtrained. That's why, your body does that. I'm very curious, kind of a similar question. A lot of controversy recently with TJ Dillashaw, his arm popping out. He said, it happened 20 times in camp. And now James Krause being investigated because of the whole Minner controversy where his leg was bad. All these people were betting against him, where fighters are going in wrecked, not hurt, injured, incapable of actually competing, incapable of performing, and combine that with gambling where you have tens of millions of dollars being bet on these guys. People are starting to notice. If a fighter's going in injured, coaches are starting to take heat. Teams are starting to take heat. What are your thoughts on all this, man? Because it's really come to the forefront the last few weeks.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I'll tell you why it's a tough one. A lot of the times the fighters need the money, right? And then you tell them, hey, are you okay? They go, yeah, I'm fine, coach. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm perfect. They know they're hurt. They know the insurance. They don't have their own insurance. They know if they fight the fight, they need the money. And if they win the fight, which they're going to try to do, great, and then they get fixed afterwards. This has happened in so many occasions where I've seen fighters go and they never tell you. And then sometimes they tell you and you advise them against it, but they still do it, and it goes both ways, and also from the betting aspect, no, I disagree with that 100%. If you know your fighter's injured and you go out and you let that leak out, or you tell somebody that's betting, okay, now you're really, really going bad, because now someone's profiting from that. But when a fighter goes in injured, okay, but he's intending to win, he's not looking to lay down. He's looking to win.
Right. He's not throwing the fight.
Yeah, he's not throwing the fight. So that's a different story. Fighters going injured all the time. So, Dillashaw going in there with the popped out shoulder, hey, he went in there to win. He didn't go in there to, okay, I'm going to pop my shoulder, fix it. No, he went in there to win. But he knows that the risk involved. He knows what was going to happen if his shoulder popped out. But he didn't go in there with that attitude, I'm going to go and lose. He wouldn't be the champion he was if he did that. I don't know one fighter that's going to want to go out there and, I'm going to just go get it fixed up. No, they're going out there to win. But the betting aspect, that's horrible.
For people who don't understand, somebody asked me about the whole Minner controversy. I said, guys are in the back. You know, there are people in and out, and you know, you're working a guy with the pads. I've seen guys in fights myself where I'm in the back. I'm like, dude, that guy's hurt. I'm not part of the team. I'm not their coach. I can see it with my own eyes that somebody can't. This idea that, like, oh, he tried to keep it a secret. I'm like, you can't. So many people are going in and out of there. All you got to do is text your cousin and go, bet your house on his opponent. That kind of thing. It's almost impossible to keep from leaking out. Am I wrong as a coach?
You're correct. It's almost impossible. Cain Velasquez, when he fought Junior Dos Santos, he had a torn meniscus, and we were told that he was fine. He only had a whatever, but he had a complete tear. But the doctors advised us wrong. We went into that fight injured, you know, and he went in there to win. He didn't go out there to try to lose. Okay, Francis Ngannou, his last fight, he had the same, not the same type of injury, but he was injured, you know. And if someone would set out word, oh, Ngannou's injured, put the house again for Gane. All of a sudden you did that, and you end up a loser because Ngannou didn't come in there to lose. He came in there to win, and that's what I'm talking about. Is like, you know, fighters do go in injured, but they don't go in there to lose. They go in there to win. Ngannou's a perfect example of a fighter that went in injured, and he went in there to win, and he won. You know, I don't know any of my fighters that go into a fight injured thinking that they're gonna lose. You know, no way, not at that level.